Hey everybody. It has been an insane couple of weeks for me, which means my already bad organizational skills got worse. which also means I had no agenda for what the heck, and I hadn't had any confirmations on people, so my current plan is to play a little music, and anyone that's interested in popping on to What the Heck to Hang and Chat, send me a DM. In the meantime, I'm just gonna keep playing. It's been a couple weeks since I used my mixer. What the heck? Alright, let's see here. Let's switch some cameras around. Let's turn some people on. Let's see, we got some Schmooster there. Yeah. Alright, we got Schmooster and Nubulon. And hold on, I can't even hear him just yet, but I will shortly. I should have done this while I was talking. Oh, jeez.
Testing.
I'm not echoing, am I?
Oh, I can hear you. They can hear you. I'm gonna play some hold music for about 30 seconds. Okay, I think I can hear everybody and they can hear me. Okay, we're back.
Yes, hello.
All right, Schmooster, we can hear you perfectly. Nubulon, we can hear you perfectly. Thank you for joining very last minute. Let's see here. What do we got? I don't have my usual intro question, but let's see, what can I think of?
You put together a document for this very purpose.
Oh, yeah. Well, I put it together in about 30 seconds today because I was very busy. Up until about 10 minutes before the stream, I actually didn't have a computer that could stream. Anyway, that's a different story. Who are you? And in 5 words, describe your modular aesthetic. Go first. Schmooster.
I can't remember what I wrote now.
It can be more or less than 5 words. There's no penalty.
Most functionality in smallest space. That's kind of what I go for at the moment.
All right, compact, but very powerful.
I really want to go live with my case, so it's all been with that in mind so far.
Live being in person or live being streaming? Because I feel like your case has been on the stream for a while now.
Live in person? Yeah.
Yeah. Sick. I think we're all like so stoked about being in person. We're all preparing to go live. I don't know. It's so cool. Nubulon, what do you got?
So audio aesthetic or like visual
You call
aesthetic?
it. All right, I'll give you some time to think because I don't want to put you on the spot too much. I'm gonna go visual aesthetic this time.
Visual aesthetic?
Yeah.
A mess.
I was gonna say yellow spaghetti, nailing it. All right, let's see. What do we got in this doc today? Ooh, good question, Nubulon. The first topic is, how do you explain modular to outsiders or folks who are not familiar with modular? That is a good question. I usually joke about it a little bit, like crazy test equipment lab that you make sounds out of or something like that. Some BS response, but really if I wanted to explain it, I would just say, I just made my own custom instrument, right? That I decide how it sounds and when it makes sounds. I don't know. It's a very good question. Here, let me move my camera back over to the usual spot. What about you, Schmooster? How would you explain it?
Yeah, I think I try not to. or I think I haven't had the occasion to very much. Things haven't been exceedingly social over the time where I've been into modular stuff. So at best, it would probably be trying to describe it to my parents. And yeah, blocks of stuff that you connect with wires to make sounds.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool. Yeah.
yeah,
I think it's hard to explain. I think the best, like, I had my parents over and I was like, hey mom, just like play with this, like make some sounds, and then she got it. Like she's like, oh cool,
yeah.
and like just show them switching some wires around changes it wildly, and they're like, that's cool.
Yeah, change this, change that. Show
What
the
about you,
difference.
Nubulan? Have you had to explain it to other folks yet?
Yes, that's kind of why I asked the question. The approach that I've taken so far has basically been to show them a picture of like a Juno and point out like, okay, you see how like the controls up here are in different sections. Well, those are doing something, and there's some signal going on underneath that's like tying it all together. Well, modular is just breaking out all of those connections, and instead of these set things, you can do whatever you like.
That's a pretty solid explanation there. I think one of the things I would have to do is sort of gauge who I'm talking to. Like if you're
Yeah,
talking to somebody more technical, it's a little easier because you can use technical analogies that they're familiar with. But if there's somebody less technical, that's where it gets a little challenging. Yeah, hey, do we have any audience questions? Questions or things they want to talk about or see? I've been neck deep in work all week, so I have no idea what's going on in the modular world.
Have there been new modules released?
I don't know.
I mean, to be
I'm
honest,
sure
I
there
usually
have.
rely on you guys.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know this time. I know I finally got my cockpit too, and I plugged it in and it lit up, and I was just about to set it up when I ran out of time. So that's a new module to me.
Get on with it.
Expect lots of ducking in the future.
Come on. Now.
I don't have it. I haven't quite figured it out. I don't actually remember how it works. I did just set up so I can at least have a idiot going into the duck input. That's about it. I don't have any audio going through yet. I think I actually have to pull it out of the case and flip some things on the back to make the top two channels mono instead of stereo.
I mean, I have some toys that are new to me.
Yeah, let's talk about them. Let's talk about the new stuff. Yeah.
So the Mega FM is here.
No way. You have
And
the
it's
Mega FM.
It's excellent. It's very hard to program, but it is excellent.
Yeah, it's FM, right? So it's
Yeah.
not just FM. It's like knob
It's
for every
like-
single control FM
Yes.
or control, yeah, physical controls. Yeah, it's awesome. When you find like I can't remember, does it have presets?
It does,
it
and you can
does.
save presets. So the
Yeah, so
knobs
you can
aren't
like noodle around with like
necessarily,
monsters.
Oh, that's huge.
representative of what's going on, which is not the best, but you got to make compromises somewhere.
Yeah, I would say FM is like at least any. I assume if I did FM a lot, I would become more familiar with how to quickly get from pleasant sound to pleasant sound. But generally, I go from like pleasant sound to like the inside of a garbage disposal with a filter on it, back to pleasant sound. But it takes me a long time to get out of that garbage disposal. It's great. It just takes me a minute. So those presets are probably money on that thing. Lots of sound design possibilities there.
Well, actually, with the preset, a lot of them are kind of bad, but in a good way.
Oh,
Because
perfect.
you can start with something and then tweak it to what you want it to be instead of just starting from zero every time or just starting with a canned sound.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, so you can get like 90% there and then tweak it, bend it to your will, and then you're good to go.
Yeah, a lesson that I'm having trouble learning is not to over tweak it because then you end up with like effectively a DX7 preset. That's not actually very interesting.
Yeah, it's,
But
yeah, I don't
like
know.
just before then, you had something glorious and you tweaked it just a little bit too much.
I mean, yeah, I'm guessing it can do some pretty clangy sounds. Like anytime I play with like FM, I get like weird bells, or like just gnarly. I think something like this one, like also pretty gnarly, but I don't know. FM's great. I don't love FM on that because it takes so long to get that sweet spot.
Right.
Those are both sides of FM. You got the gnarly robot, and then you got some bells. I can't wait to hear that Mega FM. Are you gonna stream it at some point, or have you streamed it?
Not yet.
Ooh, I can't wait. That counts as
I
modular.
close enough.
Yeah.
I don't really have the mixers so that I record off of.
Okay.
So
Well,
getting it into the computer is a little bit hard. I have a mixer that I use just to like monitor things.
hmm
So like my computer's plugged into that, the modular's plugged into that, my bass is plugged into that, all that sort of nice stuff. Just to hear what's going on.
do
But
you
getting that into the computer.
tricky? What happened to Schmooster? Why is Schmooster like a monolith?
I'm digging in a box.
There I am. Yeah. Oh. There we go.
What are we looking at? Is that I don't
Oh,
know.
it's a ruler.
A ruler? Sweet.
I'm just destroying everything in here, don't worry.
I feel like we talk about cases a lot, but that's another topic that you put down, Nubulon, and I am happy to oblige. What about
Cases.
what about cases did you want to talk about specifically? Like the question was, what can your case do for you?
Yes, I wasn't quite sure how to phrase that. But I did put it down, so I guess that's my responsibility to figure out what it means.
Well, it's got me thinking, like, I'm not using very much potential in my case. Like, it's a big wooden box, and I don't have very many piezo's inside there. I feel like that's a missed opportunity. Maybe put some physical relays and things like that, some switches that make sounds.
Oh, speaking of piezos,
Yes.
have you seen those like little stomp boxes? I mean, I know
Little,
a stomp box is another word for a guitar pedal, but
right?
like they're kind of intended. You just got me thinking of this. It's kind of like a little wooden block with a piezo in it that like you can tap on to a beat.
Oh, interesting. No, I haven't heard of that. It makes sense.
It it's kind of made to like say you're playing guitar and you like want just a beat to go along with it. Like you
Yeah,
can,
like you can
I
sort of
don't know, you
tap it
just
with your
made me think
foot.
of that for some reason.
Well, I mean, I've got a bunch of piezos lying around, like these little buddies, and in fact, this one's gonna go to CK. CK sent me a sticker, and so I made CK something to glue to something.
Nice.
So that'll go CK's way. I think I owe somebody else a piezo too. But I love them. I tape them to stuff. A bunch of things in my house still have tape on them from where there was a piezo at one point. So that's happening or happened.
Two things.
I think there's still one on my washing machine too. Yeah.
One not piezo
Continuously.
related. I've got a waterproof one for research purposes at the moment, which I picked up today and agreed to do the thing with the results and etc. And I was introduced to the topic of these, or the existence of these sticky Scotch squares that are some kind of special washable material, like nanotech sticky surface. You got to find them. They're amazing.
Nanotech sticky surface. Interesting. I just use
Scotch,
electrical tape.
Squares.
How are you waterproofing it? Are you like just dipping it in
my friend did it. It's part of a PhD project, and I've agreed to be one of the participants. And I've been provided with a piezo wrapped in like thick shrink wrap rubber.
Oh, rubber is interesting.
I think that's how it's done, and it's sealed around at the end.
So yeah, I was thinking about it because I feel like Bar Talk or somebody had mentioned waterproof, and I've seen it in a couple of videos to like freeze it in ice or something. I wonder what the best conductor of sound would be in those scenarios. So I was thinking maybe
Maybe resin.
Potato.
Well, I was thinking a hard glue, like a really hard, something that you can paint over it and that will harden and be very, very, it'll transmit any vibrations really easily. Like rubber sort of absorbs a little bit.
Yeah, if you want it to stay, use epoxy.
Yeah.
That'll get solid.
Yeah, get a bunch of piezos. It'll cost you like $1 or something. And they're fun. I don't fully. I should look up how they work, like how they physically work, because like I cut them into different shapes and stuff, and they seem to still work. So good for the piezos.
I don't know.
The only thing that I know
Science.
about that is it has to do like so flexes, it creates a charge. But I'm not really sure how that translates into like practical design.
Yeah, I remember reading something along those lines, and it might be the difference in the two plates, because I think it's just two plates.
12 piezos is $10.
$10, DB. Yep. Hit me up next time. I will, because I get them from Tata for like $0.01 per or something. Oh, it's a crystal when physical stress is applied. That's cool. Very cool. I did get for the first time with this module some knurlies. Like it came with, like the vendor just threw in some knurlies. So good job.
I had that happen once, and I can't remember who did it.
Boutique Pedal, New York City. This is not a sponsored video. I just thought it was kind of cool. Yeah, then the black knurlies too, which I thought were really cool. But they're 3mm, and I have the square 2.5mm.
How are you on 2.5?
Or they're the M3, not the M2.5. Sorry. Whew.
How do you normally use 2.5 though? I would have thought you'd be on the larger side for that.
Well, I only have this much Euro rack. Everything else is actual, like, I think I'm using metal screws, but they just go into wood.
On the rails you got.
Yeah. But I was pretty stoked to see knurlies. I would love to see that more often, just because you usually get, in the box you get
screws.
Like, yeah, some screws, and they're usually like these are hex screws, which in my opinion are the worst. Well, no, second worst. But they're all fine. They're all screws. But it also had some rainbow cable, which is cool because this is exactly like the ones I make myself, so that won't get confusing.
Yay, Christ.
As long
but I
as
do
you
like
never
building the
have to
ones.
move the module, it doesn't matter.
Well, what I'll just do is remember to test this cable in case it gets mixed in. That would be my only concern. Like, I've tested all of mine, made a cable tester for myself so I don't have to do it manually. Every Bafaco module comes with knurlies. Bafaco is great. Like, I gotta build one of those at some
They
point. I'm debating, speaking of what can your case do for you, I'm gonna build probably a Eurorack case specifically. The same dimensions as this almost, but so it would be 3 rows and 157 HP for a row or something like that. Anyway, that's going to be a fun one, and that's when I'll start getting some Bafaco and things like that. Bafaco did create the knurlies, yes. You're right, Paulon.
I guess really what the question boils down to is, like, what would you like to see from a case regarding, like, I/O, that sort of thing?
Oh,
Because you see,
interesting.
like, the IntelliGel cases where they have, like, the built-in I/O in the back, where it's like maybe
Space
a
for a power
stereo
brick.
output.
Yeah, so I think a lot about case design too. Really, ideally, what I would love is personally is on one side or even the back, because I like things vertical, like MIDI inputs and input output, like extra input and output that are superfluous, so I don't have to use them. But I would love a lot of that kind of functionality just baked into the case, so that you don't need to get like MIDI to CV modules or something. You could have just like the CV parts on the front. Things like that I would just love to see just baked in. The location sort of matters, because a lot of folks lie them flat on the back, so maybe on the side is a better option. Definitely not the top if you're going to make them stackable. And in my opinion, a lot of the modular cases that I've seen are too skinny. They're too thin. A good example is that Moog case that Frederick built. It looks beautiful, but it's so shallow. It's only about 40 millimeters or something like that. It's pretty shallow
If I
in the
recall,
deepest spot.
anything which can't fit a 100 millimeter deep module is considered a skiff.
Okay. Yeah, skiffs are not for me. Yeah, I like a lot of space. And like mine are 20 centimeter deep, and I'll probably keep that same depth for the Eurorack. It'll be overkill, but I make my own cables. It's really easy. And yeah, DB Paulin, like built-in MIDI and CV, and like even built-in. I would love some built-in mults, like on the top and on the bottom. Depends on the size of the case, but I love the make noise mult that goes across the system to sort of distribute cables throughout. Because right now all my mults are like bunches of things that then have to go across the case, and that creates just a lot of chaos. So baking in some mults, I would love some like a normal audio of some sort, like a normal patch bay or something. But that's getting into the weeds there. Because one of my favorite things about this patch bay is I can, well, I guess I can sort of do it with these two. Like there's audio going all the way out of it, but once I plug something into the individual output, it'll pull that output out. But in my patch bay, I can actually split it into 2 signals, which is kind of cool, but whatever. Mults. Everything needs to be mult. Audio, CV, everything. Bought a new box of standoffs as your new travel case is too shallow. That's a bummer. I don't actually like building cases at all, and I don't like dealing with the electrical, but I'm going to go all in on the electrical on this one and try some main stuff. Schmooster is just a lord of chaos.
I found out this packet of oxygen absorber is magnetic.
Oh, interesting.
So it is just full of iron filings.
Does anybody? I like totally leave those things in my backpacks and stuff. I probably shouldn't.
It says do not eat.
Is it a desiccant or
All
is
right,
it?
I'm gonna turn this off if you eat that.
Okay.
Is it a desiccant? I don't know. Curious about using the bus board as a way to mulch, like the make noise one. Why can't I remember what a bus board is? Someone tell me what a bus board is.
It's
For
what
power.
all of the power connectors
Oh,
are.
yeah. To remote mults like the make noise one.
I'm seeing like a skateboard the size of a bus.
Oh,
You
I see what you're
can.
saying, because there's the extra connections on the bus board. I believe there's like the extra pins for like clock, and there's a
Well, it's
normal one
supposed
or
to
something
be
on
Don't
there.
sell anything,
each bus
DB.
board is supposed to have a CV and gate. So, like, if you want to make like a monophonic
Yeah.
synth, the
Yeah, so you could
the
totally
thing
do
is,
that.
some things are normal to this. So if you start using it as just a random molt, that might be weird.
Yeah. You'd have to really pay attention to how your modules use it. I suspect, because if I remember right, those particular bits are on those pins that the normal 10 pin Euro rack connectors don't touch. I think you actually need
Right.
the 16, right? Something like that. So that should be a clue that they're using it. I think you could probably get away with doing it. Especially if you build your own bus board, which is pretty trivial to do, you could totally control and isolate it from other bus boards.
Oh, has
Yeah, I
anyone
think a
had
lot of times
ground
bus
tape?
boards don't actually transfer the CV between bus boards. It's just the power connectors. So each board gets its own CV and gate channel.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never bought a bus board, um, but that would make sense just for sanity's sake. But I agree, it would be convenient to have clock that way. And actually, one of the things, it would totally be possible to do a molt that way, Antone. I don't know if you could do
Excellent.
a buffered molt. It could be trickier to do a buffered molt, maybe.
What's your power usage on the main cases
On my cases?
in amps?
Yeah, hold on. Let me get my book.
We
I actually did measure one of them at full tilt.
I hope it didn't fall on you.
It's never fallen on me. Don't you try that now. Sorry, I can't remember. Oh, here we go. You can tell I was getting more and more frustrated because things got bigger and blacker as I got it. But it was looking like the top case was only pulling. So this case here is the one I was debugging thoroughly. Was only pulling about 0.4 amps.
What?
Yeah,
That's
most
good.
analog stuff is rather light.
Yeah, and the biggest power hog is definitely the MIDI to CV module, but it's pretty light. This one pulls a lot more because of the Eurorack. I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, also my VCOs do actually pull a significant amount, just because they have an Arduino in each one, an Arduino Nano, and that doesn't take a lot, but it's pulling more than the other analog gear. Why don't people build molts into the sides of their cases? You know what, Antone, that is something I am considering doing. Particularly, I'm thinking of doing cascading molts, which could be fun, unbuffered.
So something that I was considering that I don't really have a use for right now, but I think other people would be interested in is having what's it called? Like a MIDI splitter where it's like one MIDI in and then like several out. Except you effectively have like one input on the case, and then it all goes to the like 3-pin connectors, and then you can just have like a little 2 HP, uh, like 3.5 millimeter to get it to the modules on the front.
Yeah, and actually, I'm growing more fond of the Type A TRS MIDI connector. Or maybe there's an extra R in there. I can't remember. Actually, let's just look. I've got one somewhere over here.
It
Yeah,
would be
it's
even
just
better
it's just
if
TRS, and the reason I'm loving that is because I think they're just tidier. What I really want, yeah, I want more MIDI connectivity. I love MIDI. It's a pain, but I love it. And having a splitter like that would be great, where you can distribute it nicely throughout your system. I do love my MIDI to CV module because it actually has two full-size through, not just one, but two. Anyway, I would. I'm just growing more and more fond of the smaller ones. In particular, I would love to see in more Eurorack drum modules like Queen of Pentacles or something, or the drum sequencers or things like that. I would love to see them have MIDI in and out controls instead of like an army of cables to get those gates in.
Yeah, drums are a big problem.
Like I love Eurorack drum sounds, but I really don't want to deal with the Eurorack drum patching. Switched volts would
Do
be
you think
pretty
much
easy.
in terms of a band or an orchestra, like a quartet, or any of those sort of groups of people, groups of musicians settings, and then divide that up into your modular? Do you think in those terms ever?
no.
No. Go ahead, Nubulon.
Oh, that's all I was gonna say.
Oh, just no. Yeah, I don't. I tend to think more like, what is this track? What am I feeling for this jam? Sometimes I think like, oh, this needs like a woodwind or brass or something along those lines, and that gets me going in that direction with a patch. But I'm never like. The thing is, I just don't have any classical music training. I don't know how like a woodwind
So,
quartet or somebody would operate, so I can't really think in those terms.
I think more in the terms of like, I guess more vague terms like, okay, this is going to be in the lead, or like, this is something more background, like this is percussive, like
Yes,
things like that. More vague terms.
right. Like what are the ranges? What are the spaces they're taking up? Yeah, that's pretty good. Um, Antone, that's a good quote. I've spent so much time with actual orchestral music, I kind of want to not have that in modular.
yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I get it. Um, I,
I'm slowly creeping up the number of oscillators I have.
that's great. What are you at now?
Uh, Maybe 21 at last count.
Well, if you ever decide to fill your wall with a modular of Cosmo, you could bring that
Many.
up about 50% with a single module. Yeah, it's fun. I like having a lot of oscillators. I
I know.
very much
Sorry.
enjoy. Oh, go ahead.
The strike that I added that recently, and while it's only got one control channel, there are, I think someone said 128 oscillators,
Whoa.
but that's all in one small device and it's not modular.
Yeah,
So it's cheating.
that's pretty amazing. Yeah, what I was gonna say is I really like I use the Megadrone like for like accent hits
That's nice.
every once in a while, but like it was a really good learning tool to understand like this is what two oscillators sound like. This is what three sound like. I think after 10 they start sounding the same to me, like just a little
More grainy.
the more you add, the more it sounds like a stadium, like of
Yeah.
cheering people, right? Like you get that sort of, it starts to get in the white noise territory. Um, but uh, it's a cool tool. I love the heck out of it. That's why it's still in my case. I actually started building a box for it, but I got ahead of myself, put it in my case, and it's probably not going to leave unless I have a really good reason. I just love it so much. Same with the big honking button. That was definitely not planned to keep in here, but made it work.
It's amazing.
Honk on.
Yeah, Robbie, I actually really love the sounds Eurorack drum machines make. Like I love the variety, and when you roll your own, they hit. When I've rolled, like when I turned that uh, Evil Eye 8-step sequencer into a drum machine, man, that thing hits. I just don't love doing it via patch cables, especially if I want a variety of drums. Like really, I would love uh, the Beat Step, or not the Beat Step Pro, the Drum Brute Impact as a very small MIDI controlled module. I don't know. Or a very large module, I don't care. It could be Queen of Pentacles size, that'd be great. Even with the quarter of the things, like leave out the things I don't use. Like, let's see here, this. The weakest cowbell.
I'm definitely missing a classic array of drum sounds that exist everywhere.
I mean, I
I
don't know.
have the Yamaha portable drum kit.
I don't think you even need a drum kit. Like you could make your own if you want to by doing some like transients with pitch and things like that. But I've been making a lot of tracks recently without touching the drums for a long time. Like I think you can get away with using like instead of hold on a second, let me turn that on. Let's go to like you don't need a drum if you've got like 16th or 8th note bass or something, right? Like you can get away without drums.
That is good advice. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a complex sequence either, like just something that's the same and then everything else can be all wacky.
I mean, I'm still piling everything on without much distinction and separation. But I'm just kind of trying to learn all this stuff really fast.
You know what? You've gone deep on some really complex modules. Like it takes me a long time to do anything with a module.
I forget really
I'm
fast.
impressed. Yeah.
I do a lot in a short time, and I sort of have a rough idea of what I've done, and then I have to revisit stuff again and again for it to really stick.
Yeah, totally. And Anton's saying they're intrigued by the Pulsar 23. The Pulsar 23 is not only an amazing, like calling it a drum machine feels like an understatement, but I think due to some performance testing stuff, I'm gonna make some space for it right where you see this key step, because I think I can use the Microfreaks keyboard to control everything instead, which would free up a little space to do naughty things with drums. BIA.
That does not sound good.
Yeah, so the BIA is pretty cool. That's something people mention to me a lot, and it is on my list of cool things. But I want to address that comment of that Antone said, where you hear the BIA everywhere. I think once you just have a module, you hear it everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
like when you buy a car, you see that car everywhere. Like you just get
Or if you
familiar
want
with
to buy
it.
a module.
Right, exactly. And a good example is this,
If you buy a good Stilton, you'll smell it everywhere.
like the Icury. Like I hear that filter. Like anytime anyone's using it, like I can just distinctly. It's got a very distinct filter.
And
But
what's it
yeah.
best at? That's not what a traditional filter does.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, it does weird. Like I'm not using it as a traditional filter. I've got a lot of modulation going into it, which is unusual for most of my stuff. Yeah, you hear the sound of it, but it's cool. Like I don't really care about that personally because, like, it just reminds me of like a guitar sound. Like I don't get upset when somebody else is playing an acoustic guitar because I recognize that it's an acoustic guitar. I'm like,
Oh, I don't
cool
know,
Dave
sometimes.
Matthews cover, bro. Like, uh, jam on that thing. I'm not making fun of guitars. I love guitar. It just, for some reason, reminded me of a Dave Matthews cover band I saw at some point. Back when we could do that sort of thing. Oh, that was an arcade sound from the Pocket Operator arcade.
It was exactly that.
Yeah, like you hear those sounds and you recognize them, and I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
I think where you get into trouble is if you find yourself sounding like a lot of folks when you're making this music. I don't know.
There it is.
The BIA is cool. Yeah, I would love to get my hands. I just want like a module swap program. I have 64 HP right now, and I just want to swap things in and out without like maybe
How
one
many
at a
people
time.
did we establish in your area?
There's Colorado Modular, so I could probably swap with like maybe Sign Mountain or a handful of other folks.
That's probably the way to go.
Yeah, and then that is definitely the way to go. Like do it local because international would be a nightmare, and dangerous for the modules.
Yeah, if there was some kind of guarantee, it was cheap.
But like I would happily like lend out the data bender or the rample or whatever for some modules just to try them out because it's fun to like. There's a lot of stuff that I don't want to own. I just want to try out for a while.
We need sponsorship.
Yeah. If anyone wants to send me things to review, I will do reviews.
Really good ones.
Anton, that's cool. You're swapping with some people. I also would love to just like this is something I'm very much looking forward to now that I'm vaccinated. Is like hanging out with some people in person and like getting to try out their rig and like poorly make music using sequencers I don't know how to use, things like that. I don't know. That's what I'm looking forward to at some point.
6 centimeters by 10.5. If anyone asks.
And actually, these things, I'm debating hacking on the Speak quite
Speaking
a bit.
stuff?
No, the Pocket Operator Speak. Like I may turn it into a Cosmo module.
Yes.
Which would just basically mean like this exact thing tacked onto a big plate with as many buttons as there are jacks or jack sockets. Oh, you hung out with Stu J.
Can you put a socket on each pin?
I can't. Well, that's the thing. I'm pretty sure I can. Like all the solder points are exposed.
Yeah, just as is without taking it
Yeah,
apart.
I would just need to basically rig up like some switches or relays rather.
Or FETs.
I think I mean it would be a side project, and maybe I would try it on like get a second arcade or something to avoid bricking the actual expensive one. But I think the Speak is the one that would be the funnest.
You'll have to
'Cause it
snap the
does
top off.
gnarly stuff. No, I would never snap the top off.
Not even to make it fit.
No, because it actually is Euro rack height, but Ask me how I know that. But the thing is, I want it on a Cosmo, so there's plenty of space on a Cosmo module. No need.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. You were supposed to come to Colorado. Oh man. Well, let me know if you're in town, Antone. You can jam on. You can do an artist's residency on the fairly limited sequence synthesizer behind me. But it honks. Real big honks. Hold on. Real big honks. Yeah. All right. Does anybody else have any topics you want to jam on? Oh, what is my headset? Robbie, this is a hard question to answer because I did a lot of research in this and I just couldn't find a good answer. The best answer I found for a headset is shoot, it's the one that Colin Benders uses that I'm forgetting the name of, but I just couldn't find it at reasonable prices. And yeah, it's Cosmo with a K, and it's not black, so there was that. This headset I ended up going with, it's the AKG, hold on. It's the AKG HSC 271. And the reason I went with it is because I know AKG sounds pretty good to me, and they're very comfortable. Like, this one is extremely comfortable. I do not love the cables. It's got a really heavy, thick cable because it's coiled, but if you're into that sort of thing, it's fine. But what I was going to say is, with these headsets, they're usually designed for, like, I don't know, people in stadiums or something. So the speakers tend to lean heavier on the mid-range. So basically what I tend to do is I mix with my other headphones where I get a better sense of the bass, and then I put these on and I lose a little bit of that bass, which I don't love. But it does mean I can talk at the same time. And the coolest feature of this one is when I flip this up, you won't be able to hear me, which is great.
What number were they?
This is the HSC 271.
HSC?
The AKG HSC.
AKG
H as in
HSC.
heck, S as in 7, and C as in cool.
I've got the 271s.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what I've been using.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, they're pretty good. I'm a huge AKG fan, and it's not necessarily for the sound. Like, I do have better headphones in terms of sound quality, but these are extremely comfortable, which is my biggest requirement, apparently.
Do you get a separate cable for the mic, or is it all on one jack?
Well, it's one cable. This honking huge, like, you can't see on camera how heavy. This is a heavy-duty cable. Like, I could chew on it, it'd be fine.
Yeah.
But it's two cables in one.
You
So
could have
on
an
the
internship on it.
on the other end of it, it has a connection for a mic and a connection for the stereo headset. So it splits at the end.
Okay, that's good.
And there's actually two different cables. I have the other one somewhere, but it wasn't exactly what I was hoping for. Let's see here. No.
They use kind of an odd connector, if I recall correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like a mini XLR-ish type of. It's not easy to find. Like, here, is this it? No, that's a. I'm sorry. This is I'm not planning to dig through cables. Anyway, I don't know where it is. It's somewhere. There is a different cable that's a straight cable with different connectors on the end, but it didn't do exactly what I wanted, so.
Oh, damn.
I'm stuck with the curly cable. What I think I should do is just, like, get my partner and, like, stand on the other side of the, like, go out in the street and stretch it out a bit. Because the problem with the curly cable is if it's not connected to my desk, which this one is, Like if I let it dangle to the floor with an extension, it's so heavy it just pulls everything sideways.
What you want to do is
Maybe get
have
a
that
shirt.
headset on and use the phone, and then walk around the room and sort of walk over the cable a bit and get them all tangled together.
Well, I
And
think what I'm going to do is I'm going to maybe purchase a separate one of these cables, or find something with the same specific connector, and then make my own cable. Like sacrifice a probably a TRS cable would do the job. It won't be as well shielded, but I think the
put
mic
a hook
cable
on
is
the
just
roof.
a single pin. We'll see. But I'll get a 3 or 4 core cable and make one, just because I want a straight cable. That way I can be on the floor and I can wander around a little more. Like, this is pretty limiting. It's why I don't wear it that often. And also there's the thin sound. And yeah, somebody on the forums had made their own sort of headset cable out of this. I thought it was maybe Needless Mustard or somebody. That was pretty cool. I mean, it's all just like 4 wires, so how hard could it be, right?
I actually made a little mic adapter for my K712s.
Oh, that's cool. Wait, was it you that it's like the
It might
basically
be.
exposed wires?
Is it
Sort of
like
12
ketchup and
out?
mustard cables?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, that was cool. Nice work. I approve.
Yeah. So as far as how it works is unknown, because they're rather quiet on my phone, which is the only thing that I have right now with the TRRS. But I think that's just an issue with my phone.
Okay. Then maybe so.
Because I'd made it to go with the little belt pack transceiver
You
that I
know what
was
it
working
is?
on.
Is it's probably just it probably needs an amplifier between the phone and it,
Maybe.
between the set,
But
just because
the
they have
built-in
such big drivers.
microphone, the built-in microphone in my phone is also very quiet.
Okay.
And it's not the headphones that have the sound problem; it's the mic.
Oh, interesting. Oh, okay.
I'd love a few breakout cables for phones.
I do have let's see, where did I put them? An
They
absolute
do
crap
exist.
ton of.
Yeah, I'd hope so. Somewhere.
Let's
Somewhere.
see.
Magical eBay.
Where did I put those magic cables? Hey, everybody, I lost 12 10-foot cables that are bright yellow. How's your week going?
I found 2 MIDI cables the other day that are about, I don't know, 4 or 5 meters long each. And they were just under a box lid.
Oh, geez, I don't have any unused MIDI cables. Exactly the right amount of MIDI cables for what I need.
I've got an incoming use for them, so it's good.
That's good. I have no idea what I did with those cables, which is a bummer because those would be good ones to sacrifice for a headset. Anyway, I think I'm gonna call it. It's been a bit over an hour now, including the, if we count the 20-minute intro as 0 minutes. And I'm not able to talk anymore because it's been a week. Thank you both for showing up last minute. The right amount of MIDI cables for Robbie is 0. But I think once Robbie tries the forbidden fruit, he's going to hate it. Have a good night, everybody. I guess I can play us out if you want.
Play us an outro honk.
An outro. Hold on, I gotta repatch just a second here. It's not
Honk
quite
with delay,
as
delay,
honking
delay.
as I want. Like, I want this to go into, you know what? I don't want that to go in there. I want this to go up here. And I want this to go over Yeah, so that's going to stay there. This is going to go nowhere. Where's this? This goes to there. Okay, cool. Out, to in, to on, to honk.
Right.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Let's switch some camera and do some. I'm
Play-
just going to leave that on.
Play Jar Jar Ding Dong.
I don't know Jar Jar Ding Dong, but I know this. Let's see. Oh, did I ruin that? Oh, yeah, because I got to flip a switch, huh? But what's the point of plugging all those in if we're not going to get some honks? Creepy vampire thing? Oh. Okay. I'm guessing that's not me. Alright, have a good week, everybody. See you next week. If you want to be on What the Heck, hit me up and we will make it.